Reportedly, in the 7 hours following the earthquake off the north coast of Sumatra, over 227,000 people lost their lives. Over 50,000 people are still missing. Imagine your home, imagine your neighbour's home, imagine your village, imagine your entire town vanishing in just a matter of minutes.
If you think of an earthquake as just being a series of vibrations, these are the recordings of those vibrations virtually the other side of the world. As the ground vibrated in Yorkshire, and our instruments here were able to pick those sensitive vibrations up. These waves continuing to arrive here, perhaps for as many as 40 minutes. In fact, we could pick up resonance of these waves for several days afterwards. A section of the crust, perhaps about 500 miles long, was uplifted by about 60 foot. So one side of the fault just lifted up by a substantial amount. Now on top of that, if you think you then having a column of water on top of that, as you lift the crust up, the water initially comes up with it, but the water can't form a cliff in the way the rocks can and flows off the sides. A little bit like sloshing about in the bath, you can think of it as. And that wave then carried the energy from that movement out across the Indian Ocean.
Somewhere around 8:15, I was awake. Tracy, my wife, was asleep, and the room started to shake. We could visibly see the room shaking. The ceiling fan was shaking. We could obviously feel it shaking. Went on for probably 20-25 seconds, something like that. We then, about an hour later, half an hour later, got up. We went for breakfast at the Café Lomar. They were asking for boats. There weren't enough boats around, to sort of help in the recovery. So, we did a little bit.
So was there a sort of a fleet of you that went out and...
Strangely enough, no. That's what surprised me. At Phi there was only one other boat in the bay, and that was a Navy boat, a police or a Navy boat. I think it was Navy. A lot of the other local boats were all destroyed. They were either on the beach, they were upturned. You could see either the stern or the bow sticking out of the water. There's a lot of marine destruction there, as well as loss of life, of course. And it was deathly quiet. It's just so quiet, it was eerie. Phi was very, very badly hit. A lot of people killed, a lot of people drowned, a lot of bodies still, even at this day, unrecovered. And we saw things in the sea that we hope never ever to see again. People obviously, but the hotels there had been decimated. There's a little spit of land in between two parts of Phi Don, which is the main island at Phi. And people had seen the wave coming in from one bay, which is called Tonsai Bay, and they ran to the other bay, but there was a wave coming in that side as well, and they just got washed up, and a lot of them died. Those that didn't make the high ground.
The reaction was immediate. Despite the fact that many people were still on holiday, very sympathetic. There were people who felt that because the problem was an immediate one, that the council itself should make some kind of financial provision, simply to make sure that any relief effort wasn't underfunded in the short term.
How much did you raise altogether?
It topped up at about 85,000 direct into the York Aid appeal, but difficulty we had was amazing in York. We had actually had difficulty closing down the appeal. Residents were still wanting to organise events to increase the total that we raised even more.
So who raised all this money? I wanted to find people that raised donations in and around where I live, in Yorkshire and the North East.
From the grand gestures of York to the small village in Denby Dale, people dug deep all over Yorkshire to see what they could do to help. Oh yeah?
We've held 2 events which have been here at the Dolce Vita. We held one in January not long after the tsunami actually hit. And then we held one about a month ago to continue our fundraising efforts. Everybody was talking about the tsunami anyway, and lots of fundraising, you know, people in shops and things, there were buckets and people collecting money, and we said, well, what can we do? Well, so then a little bit of thought, the cogs started turning for me, and I thought, yes, we could do something. People give quite easily, but people are worried that where does it all go, and you know, there's a lot of administration charge.
There's a lot of money and a lot of trust in people that you don't
and it isn't that people aren't willing to give. It's just that if they give £10, they'd like to think that £9 went directly, or the whole amount.
Alicia makes a good point. The Disaster Emergency Committee, DEC, received £300 million within 2 months of the disaster. That's £75 million by phone, £44 million online, £55 million by post, and £15 million through charitable events. And that's only £264 million of it. But you get the idea. The president of the International Federation of the Red Cross stated in March of last year, "This terrible tragedy is a difficult challenge, but is also a marvellous opportunity to illustrate how the power of humanity can help those vulnerable to natural disasters."
This is Stained Rock Primary School, where I met a group of children that had their own ideas of how to help the people in Southeast Asia.
My name is Tess Donoghue, and I remember the day of the tsunami very well. I saw how devastating the earthquake was on television, a massive wave which left nothing in its path. It must be the most horrible thing I've ever seen.
To help, we had a mufti day and we paid £1 to dress in our own clothes. We also had a bring and buy sale in the school hall.
I wanted the children to have money to rebuild their villages and schools and to be happy once again.
We do like to give them an opportunity to talk about their feelings and at least share with them the obvious confusion that they might be feeling. Because all of these things that happen and happen somewhere else in the world can be very frightening to children because of the reporting being so immediate. I think maybe, 25 years ago or even less, it wouldn't be quite so immediate and in their own front rooms virtually as it's happening. Whereas now today it is, and I think children can get confused by that. They need to understand that it isn't going to happen to them just because it's happened somewhere else in the world. And we do try to give them that opportunity both in classrooms and in assembly. I think they felt that they would like to send regards to some of those children who did survive the tsunami disaster. And through means of their poems and their readings and their writings, we'd be able to send a message out there. And we are looking forward to hopefully receiving some messages back from them.
So the kids have read their poems and given me their pictures. So the best thing I can do now is deliver them. Well, this is it. This is where we head off to find out where all that money's gone to. Thailand was one of 12 countries affected by the tsunami. It stretched over a massive, massive region. We're going over to Phuket in southern Thailand. It's right near Malaysia, and it was hit just after, I believe, Sumatra and Banda Aceh. So we're going to fly over there. I'm going to fly over there and going to take a closer look at where all the money that you've raised has gone to.
This is a small village in South Thailand, just north of Phuket. This is about 1.5 miles inland.
"6,000 miles and a head full of jet lag, I was making my way through Southeast Asia, a hazy experience with a head full of expectancy of what I might see and learn. What kind of state would these areas be in? How will the people react to another foreign journalist picking at their wounds? thoughts that seemed distant and irrelevant sat in my comfortable shared terrace in Leeds. I travelled to the north of Thailand 5 years ago and found the Thai culture to be so gentle, kind and endearing, so much so that I swore to return. Never would I have thought it would have been in such different circumstances. Thailand was one of the lesser affected countries, yet it lost 5,000 people that morning. 3,000 are missing, presumed dead, and 19,000 suffered displacement.
Yes, first become like a high tide, nearly up to the store on beach. It's low tide. You can see the coral and the fish jumping. About in half an hour later, the big wave coming on second wave, and many customers they scream, they run around the hotel.
อยู่ที่หน้าหาดเลยกำลังยืนขายปลา
On the tsunami coming, she worked on they got the small place to sell the fish, right near the beach. And when the wave coming, he go to get his mother. But she lost one son on his older brother of her. He lost one man on her family.
The next day, Nok took me 2 hours north to Khao Lak and Ban Nam Kem, where I met Rachana, head of activities for a Thai charity in the south, a charity supported by Save the Children UK and Bob Wolf's Tsunami Boat Appeal.
Children, by usually they're getting better from, you see, they're not sad so much and they can do more activity, you know. In the first you came here, children just sit still, look, and no feeling, nothing. The youngest one is okay, they're easy to forget. But for the elder one, for the youth, for the elder one that they cannot forget, they're still sad. When we open the song about mother or father, they still cry. Yeah.
Still
very sad for them, yeah. But here we have many kind of activity that children can do that we don't want to talk about sadness. We want them to forget, but even cannot forget, but we don't want to talk about that. When we with children, we always talk about future. What you want to be in the future, what you want to do. And we take care of 30 orphanages who are really need help and stay with us, sleep here in the tent, still sleep in the tent. And also 150 children that they are really poor, that we support them every month, you know. So we have too many children to take care, but our budget from really little. Many people, they think that supporting for the building, for something that you can touch, more people support, but I need support for the children to eat, you know, something the children can eat, and people don't donate money to that because they think the children eat and nothing to see. But if you donate building, donate computer, donate something that you can touch, you can see that better. But I think that people have the wrong idea, you know, to donate things for the children is good, but for children eating the good food for healthy, I think very important, you know. The children must get help from healthy, from the heart, head, you know, heart, head and hand.
It seemed the further I moved away from tourism, the less time had passed since a wave had struck.
As you can see, many of the areas still haven't been rebuilt. But you can see there's a lot of areas that still haven't been touched since the clear up. You can still see rubbish, a lot of rubbish. But you can also see quite haunting reminders of what actually happened here. So yeah, there you go.
Wednesday, and it already felt like I'd been there a month. It had been non-stop. I was now 4 hours north of Phuket, nearing Burma. I was here to meet U from Care International, another DEC-supported organisation.
It's quite an adventure. Are you okay with going down there? Yeah? Yeah. We loaned a sum of money to the community. The community has to, work among themselves. Like they have their own committee. Yeah, to consider the members, to recruit members who are the most needy. They just have to list all the damage that they think that they need some loans to have, like fishing nets and fish farms. And the committee will loan out the money. Care provide this fund. And there's no, the committee doesn't have to return the money. But the budget for revolving fund we just give out to the community, and they have to manage the fund. They don't have to return to Care, because it's like we give out the money and help them to, manage their money for their own community. First, it would be to restart their lives, right? But if all the members repay back the loan, the money will go, and they can decide that they can use money, for other community purposes.
So they're not repaying Care International.
No,
they're repaying
for their own community.
So Care International gives the money to the community.
Yes.
The community give the loans out to the people.
In their community.
And the people
repay
the
back
community.
And then the money will, when all the members repay all the loans, the money will then decide for other purposes in the community, to perhaps welfare. Some communities have decided, because now they're starting repaying the loans, and they plan it to make for like education purposes or health.
Will this be monitored by Care?
Yeah, Care staff. Now the auditing team will go and assist the communities to see if they keep the book right.
This is Cape Bar Tiem, and this area was directly affected by the wave. There used to be 100 people living here. 98 of them survived, apart from 2 children that were caught in the wave. The area has been completely devastated. The people who knew the wave was coming moved backwards through into the mangroves, and were able to grab hold of the mangroves and save themselves from the waves. They were able to move through the area, and the mangroves protected them from the wave because of the large amount of foliage. You can see the area now, it's been completely devastated. Nobody's moved back in here for the fear of the sea doing the same thing again. Care International has been able to rehouse and rebuild their commercial areas, their fishing farms, their boats, but these have been moved further inland. The hundreds of people that used to live here before no longer live here because of the fear of the sea coming back onto them. At least now they know that behind the mangroves they will be safe. If you look at the vast area in which the sea has come forward and has swept through, you can just about imagine the size of the wave and its effect on the people living here. It must have been absolutely terrifying. One of the most incredible things is the way that people have rebuilt their communities, and although traumatized by the events, they've been able to build on their experience, and they're able, through the aid agencies and through their own communities, to help each other diversify into new forms of crafts, new skills. So this is how it's working, from complete devastation in 2004 to people who are not only rebuilding their lives, but looking to better their lives to what they were before the tsunami.
My final day, and perhaps the most important, I was to meet Save the Children to twin Staindrop Primary School I'd met Kulwadi and Chaiwat the night before and explained my intentions. But now it came to the crunch, and I felt as though I was in over my head. 1,500 children over 6 provinces had lost one or both parents. I didn't know what to expect, and perhaps I wouldn't know what to say.
My name is Natakan Songpakdi. My nickname is Bo.
We Save the Children came here on 27th morning. Yeah, to do like the emergency work for support rice, water, and like some food.
Now I'm doing project called Learn from Tsunami. It's the art and education project. We will let the children have a chance to express their experience by tsunami, about tsunami by using art like painting, sculpture, poetry, photograph, or any kind of art.
Do the batik painting, and also on the activity that make children feel happy. They don't isolate themselves in the corner. And also we work with parents, try to help their parents understand what happened with their children, why their children scream, have the nightmare. We work very close with their parents. Artwork is the one thing that try to convince children to communicate to people. So you can start from drawing. You don't need to put any color, just drawing. Like children love a picture, love drawing. So you can start from drawing, and they say, oh, who in the picture, who they are, where they're from.
I used to interview the girl who drew this picture. She told me that her house is at the mangrove area, and she told me that the day that tsunami came, she was washing clothes, and then she had to run away. And when she came back to her house, all was destroyed.
I'm from Leeds in England, and I've been to see a school called Staindrop. It's a small school in the north of England. And they made a little video for you to see if you would like to make friends.
Sawadee Krap. Hello. I'm from North England, and I've come over to see how you're all doing, how you're going. And I've gone and visited a school in the north of England that wanted to send you a message to say that they would like to be friends with you over here, if you would like to be friends with them. So they've written you some poems, and they've put a little video together for you, just to say hi.
And that was it. I was done. The schools are twinned, and it was time to take their message back home. Luckily, whilst in the school, I met a volunteer from Harrogate and managed to convince her to come with me back to the kids in England to tell them about their new Thai friends. But for now, it was time to sit back and take stock.
This is Bangkok School in southern Thailand. I'm here to Save the Children, and we're looking at Tsunami Classroom.
One night of magic she started a civil tide. One night to push and scream, and then 10 days of perfect tunes, the colors red.
The kids over there were thrilled to actually receive those messages and to actually hear about children about where they were from, and also to hear that other children in other countries were actually thinking about them and raising money to help, as I say, rebuild their local communities and donate money to their families. So, I mean, they were actually really interested, for one, to hear just about how other children, how they live, what their interests are, about their families and about the village. But also, as I say, to hear about, you know, how people help.
We've been able to realise that our money has gone to help a situation that was almost at the beginning seemed impossible to help. But now you can see the positive impact that the funding that's been raised all over the country has had. Seeing new fishing boats being built, which I know was one of the main features of the sponsorship from Staindrop as a whole community. I believe that having now seen what their fundraised money has been able to do for those children will have given them a real boost to their own self-esteem. The fact that they now have a link with a school in Thailand will mean that we will be able to keep up a communication long after year 5 have probably moved on. And I think that now these children will remember that sale, the fact that you visited us afterwards and wanted to make a film about it, the fact that they were able to send messages to a school in Thailand and good wishes to children who'd been involved in this disaster. And I think it's one of those things that they'll never forget. I think there are only very few things in school that we actually teach them or do with them that they will remember for the rest of their lives, and I think this will be one of them.
So, here I find myself back where I started. So what have I learned? Well, I learned you may not be able to trace a single pound, but you can trace a smile. The DEC split your money amongst organisations like Save the Children and Care International, organisations who are best equipped and located to staff and support these projects. Your money averted a second wave, a wave of sickness, abject poverty and death. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. I hope you can. I made a film about bravery and heroes, so maybe next time someone tells you your money's been wasted, try and remember a couple of these faces, because maybe, just maybe, they'll remember you.
To call for hands of a